Okay, so I want to start off this video by saying and acknowledging and letting everybody who doesn't know that I'm engaged and my fiance is Caucasian. And he and I have been together coming up on 7 years and have had many conversations about race relations, my Black experience versus his experience, and the sort of imbalance of how we're treated and looked at day to day. And during this whole movement currently, I've seen a lot, and he's seen a lot of family or people we consider friends who are a little bit older in age, baby boomers and such, saying things like, all lives matter, get over it, put your race card away, and missing the big picture. Number one, what I want to say is, this is not about you, okay? All lives matter is great, but this is not about that or you. This is about the fact that Black people and Black lives are considered less than. You know when you're comparing things and this is less than this or greater than this, what we're saying is that our lives are considered less than all lives or everyone else's lives. So your all lives matter bullshit is not needed in this part of the conversation. What we're talking about is the continuous systematic killing or killing done by supremacists of Black lives and Black bodies in the streets, and A, not being punished for it. B, you don't hear about it in the news. C, people's bodies are left in the street for hours because they just don't care as much. Or D, the idea that Black bodies don't feel pain as much, so we have to inflict more pain on them, okay? The ignorance behind that treatment we receive. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that when we are killed, you don't hear about it. When a little Black girl is killed, you don't hear about it on the news, the 6 o'clock news. But if little Sandy or little Karen or little Amy was killed, you hear about them on the news. You'd see the mommies crying in the streets, and you'd see talking about how they were amazing, and you'd see movements of groups of people are going to go find either their body or going to find the killer. The FBI gets involved. But when a little Black girl gets killed, you're lucky if you hear about it. That's the difference. That's what we're talking about. The fact that our lives and the loss of our lives seems to matter less to people. Less. Not we are more important than, it's because we are considered less than and treated less than. So when your argument is all lives matter, duh, we should be a part of that all lives, but we're not. That's the conversation we're trying to have. And if you can't wrap your head around the fact that if your life matters, and the Asian lives matter, and the Indian lives matter, and we're saying that our lives matter too, as well, equal to, not more than, then you're missing the point, and you need to remove yourself from the conversation. I am sick and tired of hearing and seeing all lives matter. And, well, if a Black person kills another Black person, nobody's talking about that. Again, that's not the topic. Obviously, that's an issue, but that's something that we need to deal with later. That's something we need to deal with. What we're talking about on a worldwide, global basis is when a white man kills a Black person or a white woman kills a Black person, the uproar is not there unless we as a community jump up for it. When that little white girl was kidnapped and that little Black boy was on his bike and he raced down and followed that car, so the person who kidnapped her had to stop and let her go, that's because he knows all lives matter. But if the role was reversed and it was a little Black girl, we don't know because we're considered less than. It's not as important. We're not seen. Systematically, we are not seen the same. That's what we're talking about. If you are incapable of seeing that what we're trying to say is that we are equal to, not more than, then you're missing the point and you need to remove your old closed-minded ass out of the conversation, or your young closed-minded ass out of the conversation, because that's what we're talking about. We are asking for equality, to be seen as equal, to be, when our bodies are in the streets, we are removed quickly, just like if we were a white person, equally. That is what we are asking for. If you can't get that, you're missing the point. You're missing the point as to why people are destroying buildings, because y'all are crying because of the buildings. Because again, that matters more than we do. We're not even equal to an inanimate object. Shut up. Shut up. Because you missed the point, and this conversation doesn't need to include you if you're not willing to get it.